I call Mike Martin.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I rise in support of new clause 43 in my name and in the name of the Chair of the Home Affairs Select Committee and the Honourable Member for Walthamstow, both of whom I thank for their support. It's also co-signed by 100 members from across the House, representing our entire political spectrum, almost every party, including many members of the Labour Party. New clause 43 seeks to do something very simple, which is to commence an Act of Parliament, the Protection from Sex-Based Harassment in Public Act 2023, which has already received royal assent. And this Act simply criminalises the harassment of people in public based on their sex, but this is a crime that overwhelmingly affects women, and so this really is about the criminalisation of harassment of people in public. The Act started life as a private member's bill laid by my predecessor, Greg Clark, and he was approached by a sixth former in our constituency who said that she'd been harassed whilst coming home from school. 1/3 of schoolgirls say that they have been harassed in their school uniforms in the United Kingdom, Madam Deputy Speaker. We should be ashamed of that statistic, and Greg was ashamed and he took action. So the 2023 Act, as was passed, creates a specific offence of harassment on account of someone's sex. And like this amendment that I rise in support of, it had cross-party support, including, it must be said, the member for Birmingham Yardley, who is now the Minister for Safeguarding and Vorg. And the Act criminalises harassing following shouting, degrading comments, making obscene gestures at women and girls in public with the deliberate intention of causing them harm or distress, and it carries a sentence of a maximum of 2 years. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I am quite disappointed and confused with the interactions that I've had with the government on this issue. Every time I've pressed the government for an update on commencement, I have not really received answers that are substantive. So, for example, 8 months ago, I asked a question in this House and received a letter from the government telling me that the Home Office is making all the necessary arrangements and I would be contacted when a commencement date is confirmed. As a new MP, I thought this was quite promising. 5 months ago, I tabled a written question. The government responded that it would publish next steps at the earliest opportunity. Okay. And then 2 weeks ago, I received a reply from the government to a further communication that I sent them, stating that an update on commencement would be provided in due course. Madam Deputy Speaker, each communication I receive from the government is a little more vague, a little bit less definitive about commencement. And so yesterday, at her request, I met with the Minister for Vorg at her instigation, and I thought, fantastic. Finally, we will get some answers. But there was nothing, I'm afraid. There was nada, zip. And I would gently ask this Minister, not the Minister for Vorg, but what's the point in arranging a meeting if the government isn't going to say anything new to what it has previously said? I will give way.
I'm grateful to the honourable member, my fellow member of the Defence Select Committee, for giving way, and I'm proud to put my name to new clause 43 in his name. And I also pay tribute to him for the way in which he has taken Greg Clark's previous work and in a very cross-party way for the benefit of the community, taken it forward. And does he share my frustration and slight bewilderment at the way in which the government appear to be blocking commencement?
Mike Martin.
I thank him for his intervention, and what I would say in the government's defence is that I don't think that this is a difference in policy. I think it is a difference in timing, but the timing seems to be very elastic, and what we seek, I think, here, and perhaps the Minister could respond at the dispatch box, is a definitive time for when this Act will be commenced. I will give way.
Thank you, honourable friend, for giving way, and as somebody who was incredibly proud, having been working for many, many years to recognise misogyny within our hate crime framework, to work with his predecessor on this legislation, it will be 2 years in September since this House, on a cross-party basis, agreed to this legislation. So it will be 2 years that the work has been, in theory, being done to be able to commence the legislation in September. I wonder, because many of us on this side are proud of our commitment to recognising misogyny in hate crime, if he will join with me in saying what we really want to understand is what the barriers might be to getting on with the job that across this House we know will keep women and girls safer on our streets.
I thank the Honourable Lady for her intervention, and I can actually give her a very specific time. It is 21 months to the day since this Act received royal assent. And I think perhaps what we might have from the Minister, if she would be so gracious, would be either a time for commencement or, as the Honourable Member for Walthamstow says, a specific problem that is stopping the Act being commenced, rather than some of the more general responses that we've had to date so far. So I will conclude now, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm sort of doubly disappointed, really, that this Act, although passed in a previous Parliament, so expressing the unanimous will of Parliament, this passed without division, it's also entirely commensurate with the Labour government's policy to halve violence against women and girls. Of course, harassment and violence are on a continuum, or on a spectrum, and one of the things we are trying to do here is change the culture, the culture of men towards how they act towards women, and this Act is part of that, and I think it really does contribute to the Labour government's priorities and manifesto. Indeed, the Minister for Vorg sat on the Public Bill Committee for this Act in 2023 and said that the Labour Party would work with the then Conservative government to ensure the bill would pass without a division, and so it did. Therefore, I mean, I would ask, though, and the government has signalled that it is going to vote against this amendment when it has been selected for a vote tonight, and it may be voting against it. So I'd ask why, when the amendment has cross-party support, the original Act had unanimous cross-party support, why will the government vote against this amendment? I mean, it seems to me they're voting against their own manifesto and their own commitments whilst in opposition, and it's difficult to understand, because I think we all want the same thing. So I'll conclude, Madam Speaker. Implementing the protection from sex-based harassment in public acts is an important step in helping the Labour government achieve its own manifesto commitments. And so let this not be another speech without action. And I urge honourable and right honourable members to vote for new clause 43.
Yeah.